Started in a minute, but as you're joining, glad you are here. So give me a second and we are gonna go live. Awesome. So I am excited to be here. Yeah. Hi, everybody. Welcome. We are using a new platform that I'm pretty excited about. So hang tight, get settled, maybe grab a notebook if you would like. And okay, let's see. So let's see. Um, I am just trying to go live, but hold on. Okay, let's see if that does it. Nope. Okay. I think I have everything. Oh, there it is. Okay. Yay. Okay, so we are live officially. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for being here. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the importance of why. And give me a second. So hopefully, I'm going to test make sure my audio. We're going to talk a little bit. Yep. Okay, we're good. Audio's good. Everything's good. So let's get this party started. Okay, so here we go. So today we're doing a little video on the importance of why. And I was looking at this last week and it really kind of like shook me. So if you're seeing me on social media, you're welcome to come over to my website, katherinemcintosh.com/connect. And you'll be able to interact with me live there. So if you're seeing me on social media and you're posting a comment or asking a question, I actually can't see those right now and I can't interact with you. But if you come on over to katherinemcintosh.com/connect and you connect in to the stream on my website, then you can chat, ask me live questions, and interact. And so today's topic is the importance of why. And this is about discovering what I think is probably a key ingredient and missing from a lot of people's asks. And, when I read this concept, and I've known about this forever, right? Simon Sinek, he does The Power of Why. There's a lot of things about why, but I was looking at it from this place of, um, you know, kind of had this aha moment where in my asks for my personal life, so whether it's relationships, maybe even my son, my living situation, if I want a new car, I was like, wow, I actually don't use this concept in my personal life. I have used this in my business. And this power of why is so important because it allows you to not give up. So if you're like, I want a new car or I want to buy a house and you go to, you basically go about your normal life the way you always have, which maybe you don't save, maybe you've never bought a house before. I think I've bought four in my lifetime so far. Hopefully more to come. And you don't have that energy of why. So maybe you don't change your spending habits, or maybe you don't change your saving or investing habits, or maybe you keep overspending on things that aren't really as important and as valuable to you. They're just bad habits, right? Or old habits. We won't even call them bad. We'll call them old habits. And so when you connect to the why, like, wow, I would like, so right now, my why on owning a home in Aspen, which it's quite expensive to live here. And it's expensive everywhere in the world after COVID. Prices have changed. And so I look at it and it's like, okay, why do I want to buy this house? Well, I'd like a place that my son knows he can always come home to. I'd like to feel this sense of like knowing I'm anchored and I don't have to move. So currently in my situation, Aspen is a really small town. It's also a very expensive town and landlords can hike up the prices whenever they want. So my landlord hiked up my rent over $1,000 without warning, and I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna come up with that, and I'm gonna figure it out. And so I had to connect to why do I want to stay here? And it was this energy of, well, we've built a home here. I love this location. We are really close to a lot of things. And why is it important? And so I started to look at all the places where maybe that why was missing, and that's why my habits haven't changed. And so, and I especially was looking at this in relationship, right? So, a lot of us, and I've been talking to a lot of my clients about this, a lot of us we know kind of what we want, but we're afraid to be specific with what we want because maybe it seems unrealistic, maybe it seems, selfish, maybe it seems something. And so we don't actually ask for exactly what we want, and then we don't ever attach a why to exactly what we want. And I think this is a really important facet of creation, which is, and I know this from my own journey in my business, is a decade ago, I created and had this aha moment that changed my life. I was probably to the best of my ability, I would say that I struggled severely with my body image. And so I would look in the mirror and I would not see what most people in my life would reflect to me. Most people in my life, and they still do, they reflect strong, independent, beautiful, athletic, survivor. Like I could tell you stories for days, right? One of the stories I actually ended up telling on the gondola yesterday as I was skiing in a foot of fresh powder in March up the gondola, and these are friends of mine, but, they don't know my story. And I told them the story of the boat sinking on my honeymoon, of my husband basically being unfaithful on my honeymoon, our boat sinking on my honeymoon, and then my husband, after the boat sank and after we got rescued, my husband throwed me overboard on another boat that was rescuing us. And, it's quite the story. I have a book that I have written, it's just not published yet, and was waiting for the right time. And so sometimes things that we really want, we have to be patient for the timing of when they're going to show up, right? So sometimes it takes a while for things to show up, and we might get impatient if we don't have the energy of why we want what we want. And I've worked with, very successful people, millionaires and billionaires. And one of the things when I first started working with billionaires, and this really like kind of hit me hard, was I would watch them be extremely patient on a business deal. We're talking some of them waited up to 7 years for one deal. And I took a step back in my life because I was not at that level of financial success. I was definitely not at that level of being patient. I was definitely a bulldozer and I tried to force things to manifest. And I can tell you from personal experience that when you force things to manifest, those things, they might come, but there might be a consequence to them, or maybe they don't last, or maybe there's something you're not seeing. And I'll give a simple example. So this week, my son was set on getting a new snowboard, and we went to this shop in town, and you can hand in your old equipment and sell it. And then they have new equipment, they have used equipment, and because kids rip through ski clothes and equipment really fast as they're growing. And so my son's already outgrown his new snowboard we got him this season, and he really wanted a new one. And I was like, "Nope, buddy, like, if you wanna, excuse me, call your dad and ask, and have that conversation with him." So, my son begged and pleaded, and he got what he wanted, right? At least he got what he wanted instantaneously, and this morning we had a conversation of, I wonder what would have happened if he waited. Wonder what kind of snowboard he could have gotten if he wasn't so set on having that instant gratification. And I think this is really important and tags along with this concept of getting the why you want what you want. Is is in his rush, right? There he knew the why. He wanted a new snowboard. He felt like it would be better, that he would be more stable. His other one was kind of falling apart. And, you know, but he rushed it. And so when we get this why, and for me particularly, especially in business, if I know my why, then the hard times, the scary times, the times where I am not sure if what I'm doing is going to succeed. Sometimes I feel like a failure, right? Those moments, they don't make me give up. So if I know why I'm doing what I'm doing, right? I have this deep desire to be sort of a steward for people to wake up to their awareness, to wake up to the magic of their bodies. And I know this from personal experience because I have a why behind it. I know what it's like to spend 20 years struggling with my weight and self esteem. I know what it's like to miss out on weddings and dates and birthday parties and family gatherings because I was so in my head and convinced that I was too fat and ugly and nothing in my closet would fit or I felt good in. So I would not go, and then I'd stay home. I'd watch a movie, maybe I would drink, maybe I would binge eat, but I'd feel sorry for myself and I'd miss out on experiences, on being with people I really care about because I was so in my head. And so because I had that pain and suffering of spending 20 years, spending probably at this point over $500,000 on trying to fix myself. The point is that no external situation and solution was going to work long term if I didn't change what was in here. And so when we get behind our why, so my why is and was, I don't want my son to grow up missing out on his life because he feels insecure. And I knew that if I didn't change my actions and my internal game, that my son would replicate that. Right. I also, excuse me, my why was also I wanted to be present for him, for his growing up, for his moments in time, for his soccer games and his snowboard matches. I wanted to be present when he came home from school and got upset because somebody was unkind to him. I wanted to be there for him. And I knew that if I was in my head about my body, that I couldn't be, and that would be a different game, and then my why became bigger, and it was, I know how many people, how many women in particular, men too, are sitting at home suffering with some insecurity. Now, it might not be body dysmorphia. It might be fear of public speaking. It might be fear of starting their own business. It might be fear of leaving a toxic relationship. It might be fear of making a big life leap or fear of having that hard conversation with your boss that you've been working there for 10 years and you need a raise, right? So there's so many things that when we get in our heads, we hold back our living. And when we get underneath why we want what we want, you won't give up. You'll keep going. You won't get discouraged if it doesn't happen on your timeline. Okay, you guys with me? So if you're with me, like head nod, right? Yes. And so I want you to start to make a list. Excuse me for a second. A little Sunday morning coffee. So I want you to make a list, and I want you to make a list of why you want what you want, right? Oh, lighting's better if I do this. I'll do a little dance. So, why do you want what you want? And make this list for everything, for business, for relationships, for your marriage, for your friendships. Why do you want what you want? And I promise you, there is no wrong answer. But when you get here, okay, then it will change you. So you might say, like, I want to lose 10 pounds, but you haven't created the why that's strong enough for you to make habit changes, right? For you to make, and when I say habit changes, 95% or roughly, right, is an internal game, right? Because only 5% of our like 5% of all of our thoughts, feelings, and emotions come from our conscious mind. 95%, right? Maybe it's 5 to 15% come from our conscious mind. 95 to 85 to 95% comes from our unconscious. So those insecurities, those fears that we let take over. But when you start to get in alignment and you get really clear with what you want and you get really clear with why you want what you want, then your internal game starts to change and your unconscious mind begins to align with your ask, your what, and your why. And when that happens, you become unstoppable. So you can't just be like, oh, I want to lose 10 pounds. Why do you want to lose 10 pounds? I want to be there for my daughter when she walks down the aisle. I want to be able to play with my grandchildren, right? I want to show up for my husband. I still want to feel sexy and have intimate time at 75, right? Like whatever your reason behind it, but make sure that reason, when you check in with yourself, your heart is like, yes. And you know that no matter what, you won't give up. And so a lot of people who try to lose weight, they struggle because what's really underneath this, energy of why is I'm not enough. And then the I'm not enough gets energized. And that could be, I'm not enough. My mom didn't appreciate me, or my mom put me on a diet at 10, or I was put on diet pills at 13. And you guys, I have heard the craziest stories from working with women in the arena of body for over a decade. And here's, what my new sort of like desire for the world is. It's not just about the body or the weight or the size or the shape, or a lot of people come to me and they have a lot of physical pain, or maybe they've been diagnosed with something and they know they need to make a change, not just a lifestyle change in terms of their actions and habits, but a lifestyle change in terms of the messages they tell themselves on a daily basis. And what's fascinating to me is that, you know, we have, I think it's like somewhere between 60 and 70,000 thoughts a day. And probably 90 to 95% of those thoughts are the same thoughts over and over and over and over and over again. And so you have to begin to not just change your external habits, right? Your actions. And I wrote a blog post about this the other day, so you can check it out on my blog. I think it was katherinemcintosh.com/blog/results. And, this idea of if you have trauma in your body, and I talk a lot about this with people with weight and body insecurity issues, is if you don't feel safe. So if you're living in a toxic environment and you don't feel safe, doesn't matter how clean you eat, your body is programmed for survival. So it will hang on to the excess food and store it as fat, right? Or it will slow down your metabolism, right? Or it will activate this adrenaline pump. And when you are adrenaline pumping, your body can't digest food properly. So there's literally like these sort of underneath the surface energetic things that are happening inside the body on a scientific level, right? On a physical level that no wonder why you feel frustrated. No wonder why you've created the conclusion that diets don't work for you or nothing works for you. What really happens is if you get underneath, right? Underneath what's going on. And when you acknowledge why it's happening, then you can go, "Oh, you're not wrong. You were never wrong. You just were doing the best you can to survive." That's it, right? Really simple. And so, all of you that are here, you are here because you want a better life, right? You want to wake up happy. You want to feel fulfilled. Maybe you want to move. Maybe you finally want to take the leap and take care of yourself, right? Maybe you know deep inside it's time to leave your toxic relationship or toxic job or toxic environment, but you're scared. And I'm going to say this, it's okay to be scared, right? Acknowledge that you're scared because when you acknowledge what's true for you, your nervous system can calm down. And then you're not adrenaline pumping. And then you're not in fight, flight, fawn, or freeze. And a lot of people say, well, what's fawn, right? A lot of people know fight, flight, and freeze. Fawn is when you're in a situation and maybe there's conflict. So you're in a significant relationship or you're in a relationship with a significant other and you get triggered and your way of surviving that trigger is to make the other person happy even though it's not your truth. And so fawn is sort of this energy of pleasing, and you see it a lot in narcissistic relationships. So if you're in a relationship with a narcissist, which I happened to be a few years ago, I definitely was in fawn a lot. I did everything I could to make sure he was okay so that it wouldn't create a shitstorm in my life, in my house, and all of those other things. And I gave up a lot of my life fawning and being in survival mode in relationship. And here's the kicker is I didn't even know it. And some of you might have grown up in a environment where maybe it seemed okay, but something in your nervous system felt off. Something in your survival instinct started to get activated and your metabolism slowed down and your adrenaline pump was going and you were in survival mode. And so at a young age, your body might have begun to hang on to food as storage, as fat. And so you're not wrong, my friends, right? That's the good news. And if you're with me and you want to be like, hallelujah, Catherine, thank you, please feel free to type in the chat. And if you have a specific question about your life and what's going on for you, please feel free to type it. And so I want to invite you and encourage you that if this message resonates with you, here's what I want you to do this week, right? Maybe even today. It's Sunday. If you're watching today, if you watch tomorrow, if you watch next week, grab a journal. And I want you to start to make a list of what do you want in business? And look, if you're a stay at home mom, what do you want for the creation of your family life, which I consider a business, right? Do you want to start a side hustle? Do you just really want to focus on growing your children? But I will tell you this, if you're not fulfilled and happy inside of you, so the business, right, is when I look at business, the way that I look at business is are you doing in your life what totally fulfills you? So maybe your husband is really financially successful and you guys have built an amazing life together and you're starting to feel like you want to do something, right? Or maybe you're completely fulfilled. It doesn't matter, but your business, right? The business of your life, right? Is 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 to start to look at, okay, what do I want in the business of my life? What do I want in my relationships? What do I want in my intimate relationship? And I really encourage people, if you're married, if you have children, to do your significant other and your children as two separate asks. What do you want for your kids and what do you want for your relationship? And then you can do a third one if you want for what do you want with your family. So you write down your lists of what you want. And here's my invitation to you is please don't be practical. Really get in touch with what your true heart's desire is and figure out like what really makes you excited. And I will say this to you, if it doesn't scare the shit out of you, you're not asking big enough. So I would encourage you, what do you got to lose, right? Ask bigger. Ask for more. Ask for more bold. Ask for more, whatever it is, go bigger. And there's no wrong. And then once you have your list, so relationships, house, maybe it's car, maybe it's like list of things in your life like you'd like to fly first class all over the world. You'd like to fly wherever you want, whenever you want. You'd like a home or at least a vacation rental in the south of France. Like you can ask for whatever you want. Please be impractical. And then once you've written down and you get really clear with what you want, start to add on why. Because I will tell you from personal experience, if your why isn't like making your heart sing and come alive, and you're not like, I would do anything for this reason, right? You will give up. And so the why has to feel like it's really making you come alive. And there is no wrong, and this might be foreign to start to put the why underneath what. But this is the reason that a lot of people, they get really excited about their asks, about their wants, about what they really truly desire, and then they give up eventually. Because guess what? It gets hard. Life happens, obstacles happen. I mean, crap, at 25 years old, married, thinking my life was just about to begin, my husband basically is unfaithful on our honeymoon, right? Our boat sinks after he's unfaithful. And I'm sitting on the beach, like with my hands like up on my knees, right? Going, oh my gosh, if this isn't a metaphor for my life. Life gets hard and it is easy to give up if we don't have that really, 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 really strong why. So, why do you want what you want? And start to really look at it and see how it might impact you. So that's kind of all I have for you today. If you have any questions, if you want to give a shout out, if this resonates with you, or if there is a takeaway that you want to share, please feel free to type in the chat. And I would just encourage you to really start to connect with what you value and what's important to you because my friends, life gets hard. We've had very unexpected last several years of living and, the gift of that was that I think a lot of people began to really reflect on what they valued and what was important to them. And so, whatever is important to you, start to get really honest with that truth. And when you do, your life, oops, sorry, didn't realize it was on. Your life will change. So, my magical friends, may you always stay true to who you are, what you do. If you are seeing this, welcome. If you see it on social media and you don't know who I am, you can come over to katherinemcintosh.connect or sorry, .com/connect. And we've got a bunch of free videos and I'm going to start doing these videos more often, giving you content to hopefully contribute to you. If you have a topic that you would like me to talk about, please feel free to send us an email. All right, dazzle@katherinemcintosh.com is our email. And I just recently started a new radio show. So the radio show is on Om Times Radio. It's every Monday at what is it, 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. You can connect with us on the radio. I'm also doing a free live training this week, Wednesday. What is that? March 15th. I believe it's at 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time or Mountain Daylight Time. And I'm going to be really diving into the how, the what, and the why behind getting everything you truly desire. And we're going to dive even deeper into the concepts and the context so that you can take that training and kind of r- go with it, right? And I'll be sharing some really cool. I have a 6-month coaching program that really is amazing. And I say to people, there's no formula. The formula isn't in the action. The formula is in this. What we're talking about is getting behind, like, being really in alignment and congruent with knowing why you want what you want, getting congruent with your asks and discovering what is valuable and important to you. And when that's true, you will begin to attract the life that you've always desired. But you got to get in alignment, my friends, right? And sometimes you're like, I thought I was in alignment, and you don't even know that there's these underlying traumas or programs sitting in your body. And so my sort of new desire for this next phase in my life and my business and my parenting and my work and my personal life is that I really desire to show the world that it's possible, right? And that there's nothing special about me in particular. I just happen to be really obsessed with evolving and making sure I'm better every day. And when people start to connect to their essence, to what they value, to what is important, then they begin to change the way they show up for themselves. And when they change the way they show up for themselves, the the trauma that's been hidden in the body, that 85 to 95% unconsciousness has been hidden in the body, it begins to heal. It begins to leave the body, and then your body begins to vibrate at a different level. And then you have a different way of looking at the world. And when you look at the world differently, you start to attract different, and your life changes. And that's where the magic is. And so you can join me Wednesday. I don't have a link yet. We're going to get it today. But if you follow me on social media, Facebook, right? If you are on my email list, you'll get an email with the link to join us for this free live training. And I will be talking about Fuel. It's Fuel Your Future, my 6-month signature coaching program. And inside that coaching program, magic happens. And it's not a formula. And it's not about action, although action backed up with alignment and backed up with your why, you become unstoppable. So if this inspired you, if this contributed to you, please leave us a comment. Please feel free to share this. And just thanks for joining. I hope you have a magical day. And until next time, my friends, keep trusting you, because when you trust your gut, when you trust your body, when you listen to those whispers, when you take risks, even when it's scary, your life will become this extraordinary landscape of adventure filled with everything you could possibly imagine, the ups, the downs, but it's worth it. So, thanks for listening. Thanks for being here. I hope you enjoy your day. And until next time, my friends.